I hope you were better putting people to sleep than you were juggling. That's all I can say, anyway. So I'd like to invite our third speaker, George, to outline how he got to where he is today without juggling.
Thank you very much, Fergal, Tanya, and Frédéric. I don't make circus, I'm very about that. During my presentation, I will try to explain how the JS1 standard can help us to promote the patient safety and the traceability of the pharmaceutical products, several pharmaceutical products. I will first present myself. I am actually the head of the pharmacy in the Hospital Coulommiers here, which is part of the East Francilian group. I am the co-head of the pharmacy unit since last month, because it's a new structure, the pharmacy unit of the groupment. And I have the honor to be the head of the medical community of my hospital. So like said Eric, it's very important to be at all the level to explain the JS1 standard, and particularly to my CEO. Very classic presentation. I will begin. The first project presented by Frédéric, I will be very, very short about that. My involvement since after Ballanger, donc since 2009, and JS1 standard in the future, because even if I have the great award, I will don't stop my implication with the JS1. I will continue, of course. I will begin. Really, when I was a young pharmacist with Frédéric, my chef, Madame Fabregat, who you saw in the film, gave me two important challenges. She wanted me to find a solution for the traceability of surgical instruments during the sterilization process and the traceability of surgical instruments. Like several pharmacists, I started my reflection myself with local code. And fortunately, I had the chance to meet Frédéric, and who made me discover the JS1 standard, and Valérie Marchand, which explained to me the superiority of the JS1 standard than internal code. We have analyzed precisely the traceability of the whole process, you can see here. It's a very first slide, you remember, Frédéric? And from the sterilization unit to the operating room. It was a real challenge. We have identified three major information to trace. The surgical implant, here. The instrument, of course, and the patient. All this information, the best it will be during in the operating room during the intervention. The solution was intellectually very simple, in fact. It was the unique device identification of surgical instrument. Very simple. But please remember that it was approximately 10 years ago. The FANLI project, like I showed before, was presented in Newcomed in 2009, and the first result in 2008, sorry, and the first results in 2009. The first step was the easiest, really. It was to buy a software able to read all the JS1 standards. We have chosen, like said Frédéric, the TDoc software from Gettinger. The complexity of the project was in the determination of the code composition and in the choice of the best solution to tag instrument. And don't forget that in hospital, like said Frédéric, you have old and new instrument. So that's why, like you said, Frédéric, we have chosen the laser data matrix solution at the time. We have one or two great suppliers who were able to propose the instrument tagged with laser data matrix with a JS1 code. The composition here, you can see the new instrument. Really, it's not so complicated. You have here the jetin, and after a serial number. UEDI is very simple when you see that. The real challenge was for the old instrument, because you have to tag the instrument. We have chosen the Landager Society, of course, and we have taken the same structure, a jetin and a serial number, but this time it was our jetin. So we have to identify the Robert Ballanger Hospital in the jetin. After that, it was a real challenge. I changed from hospital, and I went to the Coulommiers Hospital to become the head of the pharmacy unit. I want to progress in my career, but the first project is always in my heart because it's always very special. Since 2009, I have decided to increase my implication in JS1 standard, and I wanted to change my implication. I have worked a lot on medical devices, and since 2009, I want to work on medication and drugs. Of course, like I know the JS1 standard on medical devices, we do it. But here you can see that you can implement in several hospitals JS1 standard, and really it's not so complicated, because Coulommiers Hospital is smaller than Ballanger Hospital, but the Est Francilian group, you will see after, is really bigger. And in all those hospitals, we will implement JS1 standard. Here you can see some of my involvement with JS1. Well, I was a co-chair in a HPAC workshop at the beginning. I am actually the co-chair of a group in JS1 France, etc. And I have several publications because it's really important for us and for you to communicate what we do. Of course, in like today in the JS1 healthcare conference, but also in scientific reviews, or like you see here for example, in a pharmaceutical congress or in quality congress. It was in Paris, but it's international. Here you can see the composition of the East Francilian Hospital group. Actually, we are 4 hospitals. Meaux, which is the bigger, on the top. Marne-la-Vallée, Coulommiers, here, this one. And a smaller one is the geriatric hospital, Jouarre. Why it's important? Because, like it was said before, this organization is the future organization you will find in France. It's territorial hospital groupment. And in my groupment, we are in advance. So I'm very glad to present that. For hospital, a total of more than 2,500 beds. Surgery on 3 hospitals on the 4th, and medicine, surgery, and maternity, approximately 1,200 beds. The head of the pharmacy unit Territorial Pharmacy Unit is Michel Guizard, and I am the vice head of this pharmacy. When I arrived in Coulommiers, I found a very simple process. It's not that really. Huh? It was a very simple process for drugs with boxes, very simple. So with my great pharmacist Thomas, which was a really student with me in Ballange Hospital at the beginning, and after I told him to come with me in Coulommiers. Our question was, this time I was a chief, so I told him, how can we promote patient safety with 1 or 2D barcodes? So we made a little survey to analyze the primary and the secondary level of all the, half really, not all the drugs we have in our pharmacy. And we have analyzed the composition of the data matrix on the secondary level, and when it was present, the data matrix on the primary level. Because with this information, I'll show you the results, and after I'll tell you what we are doing now. The major information is that on the secondary level, you always have the data matrix in France, always, 100%. And it's really easy to read the data matrix. On the primary level, the data matrix is only present in 20% of the cases. So we cannot use it now. So our choice is a secondary level. But here is, it's amazing because the information is not always the same. It was in 2010, this study, 5 years ago. Because some of the suppliers were yet working on serialization 5 years ago. And our software was not able to identify the serial number, which is the 21 here. But it was simple to read, so we decided to implement this application in our hospital. And the chance we have is that some of the medication, like the blood derivative, are presented on the single unit of dose of use. So if you scan the secondary level, you have all the information of the drug inside the box, the package. So we now do the reception of the blood derivative with JS1 standard and the distribution too. In fact, it's very easy. The most complicated was to do the survey, to analyze the situation. After, to buy a scanner, it's not so expensive. You only have to think that it's possible and it's easy. Here, you have the information on the software, the product identification, the batch, the expiry date, and if the serial number is present, it can be implemented here. So it's not so complicated. We have decided to use the same application, a little more complex, for the intravenous chemotherapy preparation. Here you can see the hand of Thomas. Here is flash the data matrix, and we also scan the infusion bag. All you need to, not the medical devices, all the drug you need to prepare an intravenous chemotherapy preparation. And of course, its information are after coupled with the patient identity. You can see here the isolator where we prepare the chemotherapy. Two very simple application, and of course we do the traceability of implant, of medical devices, of implant with the JS1 standard. We are developing the oxygen traceability with standard, and the last one is to make the reception of all drugs with the barcode. Now I want to present very quickly the organization of Meaux and Marne-la-Vallée, only to show you that the colleagues of the East Francilian group use JS1 standard and they don't know it. With Valérie Marchand, we made a point of the three big pharmacy to see if the colleagues use JS1 standard. In Marne-la-Vallée, they have a robot here, an automate, and the package, this robot scans the JS1 standard and makes the reception and the storage automatically. It's only, and they do also the traceability of cardiac implant. In the Meaux hospital, here you have a great robot which do medication single use and preparation, and here also for the reception of the drug, which we use to prepare the single use medication, we read the JS1 code at the beginning. Here you can see the Meaux hospital, the Meaux pharmacy upstairs. Là, at the up of the slide. Here we have a real challenge for the future. It's here. Here you have the treatment for 1 day for a patient, and you don't see it, but we have here a barcode, a linear barcode, composed with 13 numbers. 13, so you can make a jet-in. So our challenge will be to make this barcode standard. In the future, we will try to implement JS1 standard at each step of the pharmaceutical process. We have tested it's possible at each step. It will be complicated, but it's a project. Three challenges for me. Now we will, in the future years, we will have one principal pharmacy in Meaux and 4 sites. So I want to implement GLN. It's a localization of the sites. We have 3 sites of surgery, so we can implement, like we made in the Bologna Hospital, unique device identification, traceability of surgical instruments. And the last one is to realize the reception of drugs with JS1 data matrix. So it's great, more than 10 years to promote traceability and patient safety with JS1 standard. A lot of implementations, several applications with, from the traceability of surgical instrument to the reception and the distribution of drugs. But don't forget, all this is only for one goal: promote the patient safety and traceability of drugs and medical devices. Thank you very much, and thank you to all these great persons.